Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to sprout beet microgreens. Beet microgreens are very delicious microgreens that you can grow at home very easily. If you have never had it before, it's highly recommended. It's very delicious and it's also very pretty. The things you need to grow these microgreens is very simple. If you choose to buy tray, you can buy these type of tray. These are sprouting trays that comes in multiple different sizes. These are 10 by 10 and this is 10 by 20. And if you choose to get these, get two types. One without holes, and the one without holes will be at the bottom to catch your water, and the one with holes would stay at the top so that when you water, the excess water would drain down to the bottom. The bottom tray would catch the excess water and then you can pour that out. If you want to use a cheaper method, then you can grow this in to-go boxes. These are food container. Usually when you order salads or food out of restaurants to go, they'll give you one of this, so save that and you can use this to grow. So that's item number one. Item number two you will need is seeds. You can find these seeds basically anywhere online. They have this Amazon, there's multiple other places you can find them as well. Just Google search and you can find it very easily. And if you would like to know where I got mine, just leave me a comment and I will show you. And the third thing you will need is a spray bottle. Then finally you will need some organic potting mix. You can find organic potting mix anywhere in the gardening section. This spray bottle can also be found at any gardening center, Home Depot or Lowe's in the gardening section as well. Those are all the items you will need. First, what you want to do is have your container here. You would want to fill this up with a thin layer of soil. I have the soil here already prepared, so to make this faster, so I'm going to throw this in here. You don't need much at all, just a thin layer so that it would cover the plastic area at the bottom of this container. Pat it down a little bit, and now what you want to do is you want to wet this thoroughly. That way the soil can stay in place if it's too dry. This soil has been sitting out for a while, so it's very dry, so I want to get this really nicely moist. Next thing you want to do is spread your seeds all over the top of the soil. For this, I just use a plastic spoon. The seeds are very tiny. It looks like little chocolate chips. And just take the spoon and spread the seed evenly across the soil. That's one spoon. Here's another one. So here we are. In this little container, I used about 5 little plastic spoons. I want it to cover the soil completely. And if the seeds are laying on top of each other, that's fine, because we're growing this as microgreen and you want this container to be full of microgreens when it sprouts. Now the next thing you want to do is just give it another spray of water. These are seeds now, so it's okay to have a lot of water. Next, you want to put another thin layer of soil on top to cover the seeds completely. And these are microgreens, so you don't need too much soil. Finally, give it another spray of water. Make sure it's thoroughly wet. And don't worry about overwatering these seeds because they're seeds now, so you really cannot overwater these. You want to have this soil really wet because you're not going to water this for the next few days until it starts to sprout. And there we are. So we are pretty much done. Now what you want to do is take this container and put it away where there's not too much light, because growing microgreens, you don't want the microgreens to get exposed to lights too early. What that does for the plants is it allows the plants to reach for light, so it grows skinny and tall. So basically the opposite of gardening. So when you do gardening, you want the plants to be exposed to lights as soon as possible. That way it can develop a very strong and sturdy stem. But for growing microgreens, you want it nice and tall, so you want to hide it away from the lights. That way when the plants start to sprout, it will start to reach for lights and become nice and tall. Anyway, that's all you have to do for right now. I'll keep the progress going so that you can see the changes of each day.
Alright, today is day number 3 and the seeds have just started to sprout. So as you can see there, they're kind of red there. So in the next few days, you're gonna see them come out of the soil. But for right now, there's just a few. But let me move some so you can see it. There it is right there. So I have not watered these yet because we gave it a good water the first day that we planted these. And I will not water this for another few days because the soil is still wet down there. But that's what they look like on day number 3. Here is day number 4. And the beets have all started to sprout, pushing out of the soil. From this day forth, the plants are going to start to grow very quickly. So you want to monitor the water and make sure you give it enough to keep the soil moist. And make sure you don't give too much because this type of tray does not have any holes, so there's no place to drain out. So you have to be careful with that. But if you have trays that have holes, you can water it more and the excess water would just drain out. Today is day number 5 and the beets have all pushed completely out of the soil. Notice how tall they are today. So as you can see, they're pointing in one direction. That's because I placed this in a semi-dark area where light was on the other corner, so the plants are all reaching towards that direction. As I mentioned, I wanted to do that because I want the plants to be reaching for light and become skinny and tall. And so today would be the last day I keep this away from lights. I'm going to put this under my indoor artificial lights. If you don't have artificial lights, put this by a window and make sure it gets about 4 to 5 hours of light. But don't put it in direct sunlight because direct sunlight will burn the young plants. And also, make sure you water these. Keep it nice and moist, but don't drown the plant because this container again does not have any holes, so make sure you just give it enough water. That's all you have to do for day 5. Alright, welcome back. Today is day number 8 and my microgreens are pretty much ready. Not much happened the last few days, so that's why I skipped into day number 8, but today they're pretty much ready to harvest. Now you can leave them more if you like, but today you can start cutting them as you need them. Now don't cut everything completely because you want these to just remain here until you need to use them. That way you have fresh beets all the time. Just anytime you need them, just come by, cut a few and leave the rest to grow. So every day you would want to give it a spray of water just like that, nice and all across the plant once in the morning. And you can judge how much water you have by the weight of the container. So you don't want to drown this, you just want to keep the soil moist, and so just give it a little spray. And then once you come back in the evening, if it's needing water again, give it a little spray of water because there's so many of these in here, so they drain water very, very quickly. So anyway, that's pretty much all you have to do. I mean, these are really beautiful plants, so it'll make your dish very, very nice and colorful. And on top of that, it tastes wonderful. So if you have never had this before, I really recommend you try it. It tastes very much like the beetroots that you would see in the store, the larger kind, but the taste is much cleaner and more gentle. What I mean by that is it doesn't have the strong, spicy, earthy taste of the roots, but it has a very nice, clean taste, and it's very, very nutritious. So you want to cut this fresh when you need them, and then leave the rest to remain here. Once you cut them, they will not grow back because these are microgreens. I mean, once you cut them, there's really nothing left to cut. But if you grow them in a different method, if you grow this in your garden, when the leaves grows nice and big, you can cut one leaf, it'll grow back. But for these, I mean, once you cut it, there's nothing but the stem left, so they will not grow back. Anyway, that's all for growing beets, microgreens. I hope you liked the video. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave it below, and please like, subscribe, and share this with your friends.